when somebody asks me, what do you do? Well, we do fitness. Well, what do you do? And you kind of dive into the absolute root of it. And sometimes it's hard. Like, well, yeah, we do like this exercise and we do this. Well, what is it? Well, it's fitness as intended. It's fitness the way that our body was made to move. So I've taken, like Ido Portal was one of my biggest role models for the past 10 years, 10, 12 years. I found him. He's from Israel. And he is if there was a god of movement, he would be the movement god. I would say that this guy knows more about anything, and to the point where like people like Conor McGregor have him like personally reaching out to them to teach them movements. But in general, I saw the way that he moved, and it was just natural. It's very animal locomotion like. And I was just fascinated by it, wanted to know a little bit more about it, and realizing that's the way we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be climbing trees. We're supposed to be building stuff. We're supposed to be wandering. We're supposed to be nomadic. Like that's who we are as humans. We're social butterflies. We get into all these different things. But the culture that we live in, this concrete jungle nowadays, requires us to follow the same exact path, mostly sit in the same seat. We're just doing forward and back, up and down movements. There's no rotation. There's no lateral movement side to side. And because of that, we're seeing all this pain that's coming into the low back, into the hips, into the shoulders. You go to the doctor for your back, and the back doctor, or the doctor goes, you need to go to a back doctor. You go to the back doctor. He goes, oh, I think it's your hip. You go to the hip doctor. The hip doctor's like, no, the pain's in your back. Go to your back. And you get stuck in this cycle, and then you're like, oh, I want an MRI. Well, first you got to do PT first. First, we need x-rays. The x-rays aren't going to show anything, but this is the checklist that we need to go into. And everything is so systematic today's. And our lives are systematic that we get these tunnel vision, just like racehorses. We put those things on here that we can only look forward and we can't see the peripheral vision. But our peripheral vision is what allows us to rotate and allows us to bring that movement back into our life. So we need to take those blinders off and realize that there's more than just forward and back and up and down. And even though we don't live in a world that we have to build our own houses and hike and go through the jungle to find our food, or do, we're not on a farm planting and gardening and raking and seeding. Even though we aren't doing those, we need the movement of those things. So our goal for our classes, our personal training, is to guide people back to explore movement, create play, and do fitness as it was intended. Fitness, which is fitness that you don't think about. Like, for instance, you talk about it all the time too, that to be fit when you're a kid, you didn't go to a gym. To learn how to stand up as a child and walk, you didn't have your parents telling you to do 3 sets of 5 reps of single leg steps. Like that stuff didn't happen. Like that your body knows what it needs to do. And if you just take the second to listen to it when you're feeling in pain and be like, my body wants to hinge in half and rotate, and we go and do that, you might find that you're relieving that pain. So fitness as intended is exactly what it is. It's to get our body to move the way it needs to move. And then we call it fitness. It doesn't have to be super heavy. Doesn't have to be super hard. Doesn't have to be for a set reps or weight and all that other stuff. It all has its benefit and its purpose, but just get your body to explore movement, bring the fun back into it, roll down a hill, do a somersault carefully. Like I'm probably on pads, like on a bed, I would say is probably where you want to do the first somersault, because going on the hard ground might not be the greatest idea if you haven't done one of those time, but try and explore movement and try to create that play in our life that we're missing out. And you're going to see that now you could roll down a hill in a minute rather than wait 2 hours in a doctor's appointment for a cortisone shot that's going to only last a month and not fixing the problem. So that's what fitness as intended is going back to move the way we need to move.